Hello everyone, it's Irene Evangelou here. Welcome back to another episode of the Peace with Anxiety podcast. We are doing something different today. So I recently released my brand new workshop that is really all about peace with anxiety. And if you don't know this already about me, the Peace with Anxiety method is the foundational key component of the strategy behind my new program. So if you're someone who wants to understand what is getting in the way of healing from anxiety, or what to do about your anxious thoughts, feelings, and actions using evidence-based techniques, or if you want to learn about my exact step-by-step method to effectively overcome anxiety, this is going to be a workshop that is going to be super helpful for you. So you can either come and find me via email and get this workshop as a video workshop. And actually, you know what we will do? I will include the link to that workshop in the show notes. So if you would prefer to watch this as a video, just go ahead and grab the link and go watch it. However, I know that there are lots of you out there who love listening to this podcast, whether that is on the road, on a walk, or wherever you like to listen to this podcast, and I get it. So I thought it would be helpful to basically put the workshop into a podcast format. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the tape in a second on this workshop, and it is going to be a longer episode. So the workshop was about 90 minutes, I think. So it is going to be a longer episode than you're used to on this show, but it's also going to be a game changer if you're ready to feel calm, confident, and in control of your life. So it is not an episode to miss. So let's go ahead and roll the tape. You're listening to the Peace with Anxiety podcast. I am your host, Irene Evangelou, anxiety counselor and clinical hypnotherapist. I'll be coming to you every week to share actionable tips, simple strategies, and useful resources to help you break free from high-functioning anxiety. We'll be covering how to recognize and understand your anxiety, strategies to change your thoughts and feelings, and ways to implement long-lasting change. If you're trying to overcome people-pleasing behaviors, navigate anxiety, living in self-doubt, or something else keeping you stuck, then you are in the right place. I know that you're ready to get to the next level of your life, feeling free, calm, confident, and in control. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Peace with Anxiety workshop. This is the first time I have run a live like this, and I'm super excited about it. And feel free to introduce yourselves in the comments if you feel comfortable. So here's what we will talk about today. I will share with you the tools, tips, strategies, and techniques that have helped me personally and have also helped my clients as well to overcome anxiety by making peace with it. I will cover a little bit about the mindset of the high achiever, and then I will explain to you exactly how I use the Peace with Anxiety method to manage my own mental health struggles and what you can do as well. Now, before we get into all of that, let me probably introduce myself to you, what I do, and how I work with my clients. So, hi, my name is Irene Evangelou, and I am an anxiety counselor, clinical hypnotherapist. I'm also the host of the Peace with Anxiety podcast, where I talk about all things anxiety and therapy related. And finally, I am the owner of the Irene Evangelou Therapy online private practice. I specialize in high functioning anxiety and in working with women, with high achieving women who are looking to gain control of their thoughts and feelings, build a resilient mindset, and feel more calm and confident. And how I do this? Well, through rapid transformational therapy or RTT, which we will talk more about later, but also through various counseling approaches such as dialectical behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, mindfulness, and emotionally focused individual therapy. And to tell you a little bit about my approach, if we were in a session, we would work together to uncover the origins of your anxiety, identify your primary triggers, and understand how your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are interconnected and contribute to your anxiety. We may also discuss how earlier experiences might have affected the way you see yourself and the world around you. We would explore your main goals for therapy and start shifting the way you think and act when you're feeling anxious, and also introduce healthier ways of coping that will help you achieve more confidence, calmness, and control in your life. Now, the main thing I want you to know right now is that this workshop is probably going to be very different than what is usually out there, because I did not just want to talk about anxiety in general and then offer some tips on what can be done and then tell you that you have to work with me to learn how to do it. No, I wanted as my very first workshop to be truly honest and transparent with you and give you my exact method for the Peace with Anxiety RTT program, so you will know by the end of the hour if it's right for you or not. If not, that's all good. You will still get valuable information today. So, no guessing, no pressure, just useful, simple, practical, and powerful information that you can start using today on your own. Because the way that I work with my clients is that I would always give you the choice if you want to work with me. So, like I said, if not, that's irrelevant. I'm just going to give you everything that I know. And then if it resonates with you and you want to do it, well done. If you want support, fantastic. It doesn't make any difference to me. It's more about you making sure you have the right information so then you can make the right decisions again for you. And because I'm going to guess that this is not the first workshop you've ever been to, you probably already have Googled and searched things you can do to manage anxiety. And if you're here, then I'm willing to bet that you're still looking, maybe even feeling frustrated because nothing works for me. When in truth, things do work. But the key is to keep doing them consistently and in a proper way. So that's what we will talk about today. Now, I do want to say, though, that I believe that my way is not the only way. And yes, you heard that right. My way has worked for me and for my clients because we shared and still do the same overachieving mindset. The I don't need a break, I can work 16 hours a day, easy peasy. So if it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. I'm only here to share my method and a little extra stuff to maybe help you on your journey towards healing from anxiety. Okay, so how many of you in here right now are finding yourself in that mindset where you're like, I'm doing all these things for my anxiety, but I don't really know why it's not working, or I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing as I'm doing all those things, and I'm feeling very frustrated, lost, and confused. That's okay, because I used to be there too. And this is why I do what I do today. I don't do this because I just saw a movie and I liked psychology. I mean, I do watch all movies that talk about mental health. But the reason that I chose to do this job and to work with anxiety specifically is because I struggled so unbelievably much. And I was so overwhelmed by everything that is out there. I mean, you can probably see some of my books behind me. And I've done so many trainings about it, trying to figure out the same thing I asked you before. Why is it not working for me? What is it about me that cannot get better? But I was also very stubborn and dismissive sometimes with the advice that I was getting. And it all changed for me when I found someone who was as stubborn as I was and who guided me into the darkest places of my mind that I so very proudly spent so many years avoiding. And I really struggled to decide if I was going to tell you all these things about me, but I truly believe that working with someone who really gets it and who has done the work themselves and who you feel comfortable enough working professionally towards understanding those parts of you that are hurting, that are anxious, and finding ways to accept them as part of us, to embrace them, and to finally move forward. This is an incredible indicator for a successful outcome because listening halfway through a meditation for a week, doing some yoga and stress management techniques, and going to therapy once is not going to be enough for you to see change, actual, long lasting change. So, we need to have a plan, a method, a framework to follow to get those results. And it took me many years because I just couldn't figure out how to put it all together in a way that made sense for my brain. So, I am super excited because I'm going to share with you how I work with my clients, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I did it so that you guys can walk away with that information today and be like, okay, now I do know where I need to go from here. So I'm going to introduce you to that method of how I learned to embrace my anxiety and the way that I map it out for my clients that specifically make it the Peace with Anxiety RTT method. And because it's going to be a lot of information today, and I don't want you guys to end up in information overload, if you're someone who likes to write things down, go grab your pen and paper. If you're someone who likes to have a notepad on your screen or your cell phone, do that because I think that we might get a little bit lost in the information. And before we go any deeper, I have a disclaimer because I want to be very clear with the intention of today's workshop and to make sure that we are all on the same page. This workshop is for educational and informational purposes only. The information provided in this workshop is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any condition or disease. It's not therapy, and it's not meant to replace the advice from a qualified medical professional. All right, now that we got that out of the way, in case you have never heard me talk about high function anxiety, let me just say that in my approach, I do not consider anxiety as the enemy or something that we need to get rid of or to simply just learn how to manage and let it take over our lives. None of that. And I really hope that after today, you will see anxiety from a completely different lens that you have been taught and be open to the opportunity to not just manage anxiety, but heal anxiety at its root. Hearing that, how does that sound? Let me know in the chat. All right. So, the Peace with Anxiety method is the program that I created specifically for high achievers who struggle with anxiety and want to learn how to navigate that anxiety naturally. So, if you're here today, I'm willing to bet that you experience persistent or negative thoughts. You have difficulty saying no and often feel overwhelmed, struggle with perfectionism. You are a high achieving person. You may also be a people pleaser, or you have been told you are highly sensitive. You may be your own worst critic. You may fear failure, and you worry that you're not good enough. And maybe you're also here because you want to stop your anxious thoughts and feelings without medication. You want to be able to say no without feeling guilty, to feel in control of your thoughts and feelings, to learn why you feel the way you do, to feel calm and confident, to learn how to master your inner critic, to make peace with your mind and body. And you're probably highly motivated and committed to investing in you to be the way you want to be. And the reason why I put it together, it was for me, okay? Not for any of you. This program was built for me because I looked like I had it all together. After all, I didn't really have it together, even though I looked like I had it all together. Okay, that was a bit confusing. But my point is that as a therapist, I knew all of the tools, the tips, tricks, strategies, and techniques that are used in anxiety therapy, but none of them made sense to me in the way that they were presented to me. And they never really gave me what I wanted, which was not to feel anxious all the time. So I really had to sit with myself and say, okay, I have every tool in my toolbox. Like everything is in my arsenal. I just need to figure out a way to put the pieces together properly to get to where I want to be. Because it absolutely did not make sense that other people can do this stuff and it works for them. But then when I do it, it doesn't work for me because that would mean that something is wrong with me. And I really did struggle with that mindset. So, this is why I created the program. As a high achiever, I don't know if that's you either, but I was all about control, and I still am in some ways. I was making sure that everything had to be under control. So there would be no surprises and, of course, no disappointments. And control with anxiety is not a good combination, to say the least. So, how many of you here are like that as well? Well, it's good to see that I'm not the only one. And the reason why you probably cannot tolerate anxiety is because you cannot figure out a way out of it. And that is okay if that's where you are, because I am here on the other side to tell you that when you lean into those very uncomfortable feelings and learn why they are there, how they came to be, the tools that help you to overcome them, and then start putting them in order, you're going to see the results you're looking for. And that's the thing. Knowing what to do and doing it properly are two very different things. So let me know in the chat how many of you do meditations or go for a walk or spend time in nature or spend time with people, drink water or go to therapy. You have been doing all this stuff but still feel anxious. So when I ask people how they are meditating They say they Google meditations and try to do what comes first. Or they say that they do use stress reduction tools like breathing exercises, but only do them when they're having anxiety. And I say that is not the way to go. If you do any of those things, you already have a few ways to get better, but you use them incorrectly. Because with any tool, the toughest part is to hold ourselves accountable to do them consistently and in the right way. You can't say you do mindfulness meditation or go to the gym if you only do this thing once a month. So it's important to be honest and willing to be vulnerable with ourselves and take a hard look at what we are actually doing or not doing if we want to get better. And when I have a discovery call with someone, one thing I ask them is, what are they doing? I want them to think about exactly what they're doing so we can figure out if there is any room for improvement. Because if you're here today, then you're here for help, which I will give to you. But it's important for you to take action and not let this just be another workshop masterclass that you attended and stay stuck in the same pattern cycle of anxiety, of overthinking, of people pleasing, of overachieving. But I do not ask this question to make anyone feel bad or ashamed. I would never do anything like that. Asking this question not only informs me of what has been working or not working for you, but it also tells me that you have the courage and the bravery to admit to yourself when you need help. That's all it is. You're not weak, you're not broken, and you're not just an anxious person, okay? So if we end up working together and I ask you this, I would encourage you to let me know what is happening in your mind and body. Are you feeling frustrated, angry, upset, or ashamed? Whatever it is, we will stay with those feelings and we will work with them to figure out the best plan for you. So you will all be learning about the program that I built for myself and for you, of course. That is to put together in a way that shows you the basic stuff that we need to learn to do and master, because it's understandable to want to jump to the end of the line and feeling the way you want to feel. It's human. We all want that. We all want to avoid pain. However, we cannot see change in our anxiety if we're not willing to do those basic things to build a strong foundation. And when I started this journey, I was very dysregulated and disconnected from my body, which I am sure a lot of you are right now. I thought that I didn't understand why I was having these symptoms. I was thinking, well, everything seems relatively fine. Why is my heart pounding? Why are my ears burning? Why does my jaw clench so badly? Why am I snapping and everything? Or why is my stomach dipping in the middle when I think about meeting my friends? I don't understand. Maybe I should do another medical test to make sure everything is fine, right? My nervous system was just so dysregulated and was running the show in full control. And as I said before, I was kind of like a control freak. So that made me even more anxious, because if I was doing all those things to control my anxiety, but my body was actually in control, then what does that even mean? When am I going to feel better? So I know that you are in a difficult place right now, that you don't feel like you can trust your body. You don't trust that there is a way out of it. And it's probably making you feel unsafe. And I've been in that place, and I didn't trust what I was studying. I didn't trust what I was learning or what anyone was telling me. Or at least I didn't believe it was going to work for myself. And if you feel that way too, then I know that in some way it feels better to stay with the feelings that you know than to step into something new that feels unsafe, uncomfortable. Because you might be thinking that if I fail at these two, then that means that I can't do anything about it. And in fact, I might just be an anxious person, and that's how my life is going to be from now on. Which I get it. And it's really hard for us to face. Now, for me, I went through this by myself, and it took me way longer than it should. So that's why I have this workshop for you today, to tell you all that I know and to say that I see you and I get you. Now, this program, it's not that it's the only way that you're going to get better. Like myself, I believe that everyone has the capacity for healing. But with this program, you can get there faster. I truly stand behind that. But I'm not going to say that you should trust me blindly or that this program is your salvation or anything like that. But I do hope that by now you may have some faith in that I have been where you are right now, and that I really get it, and that I am on the other side now. And to be honest, I am jumping into the middle sometimes because life brings new challenges, and we just need to learn to adapt to them. And I am saying this because I don't want you to think that I am cured of anxiety. First of all, anxiety is not a disease. And second, I am human like you, who's going through things just like you. But I just have a different way of approaching them and sitting with them. And that is what I do with my clients and through this Peace with Anxiety RTT program. We cannot just stop challenges from coming our way or removing anxiety from our lives completely. What I want to show you is that you can hold space for anxiety in your life without letting it control you, and teach you how to decide what to listen to and what that anxious voice inside your head is saying, or those anxious feelings in your body. So that is what is going to happen after you go through this program. You will be able to train your mind and body to become more resilient to whatever is coming your way. And nothing is new from what I will tell you. Okay. I did not invent anything. And this is the best thing about this program, because everything I tell you and I include in my Peace with Anxiety program has been scientifically proven to be effective in overcoming anxiety. Honestly, I don't want to change you. I mean, even if I wanted to, I couldn't, but that is not the purpose of this program. I want you to be you, the real, strong, resilient, calm, and confident you. We are all born with it, but somehow along the way we forget or we learn to hide it to be able to go through challenging times. I mean, I cannot change what happened to you, your childhood, your experiences. All I can do is to give you the tools to make yourself stronger and better. One thing that you need to know about me and my approach is that I don't see you and your struggles through the lens of a textbook. And I am willing to guess, and feel free to tell me, that most of you have had an experience when you went to talk to a therapist who just did not get you or understand what you were going through or didn't know what was the right thing to say to you. And I have been there myself. And for me, it just took one person who could tell me what I needed to hear in a way that was not making me feel I was doing something wrong, in a way that was empowering me to make my own choices and encourage me to participate in my healing. Okay? I hope that this is clear now, who I am, what I do, and how I do what I do. All right. So let me share with you my Peace with Anxiety method. And if you want to get your pen and paper out, now this is your chance. I'm going to tell you what is included and in what order and why I did that. Okay, so the Peace with Anxiety RTT program is designed to be a 16-week program, but I understand that you're busy. So I try to make sense for people with kids, with jobs and busy lives. And because this is the first time I have put it together in an organized way, in a program style, what I have been doing so far with my clients all along, and because I am still adapting it, I'm still developing it and adding more things with each feedback, with every session, with every client I get, I give everyone who is joining me lifetime access to the program. Because I want you to take your time as you move through multiple resources that I offer. And most importantly, putting them in action. So I don't want you to feel rushed with the content and finish it without actually doing it. So the only part that is set, and I would say I would not change, is your own individual one-to-one rapid transformational therapy sessions. So let's talk about the therapy part first. I have a video explaining what RTT is and the most common questions, which I can share with you in the chat. Or if you are in my private Facebook group, you can access it there. But in case you never heard about rapid transformational therapy, let me say a few things. RTT offers permanent change in a short period of time because it focuses on working with the root cause of one issue. And it's ideal for dealing with mental, emotional, and physical issues that come through negative past events or experiences. And the change you experience through RTT is profound, to say the least. And last thing, and will make a real difference in your life. You can free yourself from anxiety, fear, a belief, or a habit that is blocking you and causing you a great deal of discomfort. You will improve your well-being and start to feel more calm, more confident, and more present. And if you're worried about the hypnotherapy part, let me just say that hypnotherapy is a form of psychotherapy that uses guided relaxation, intense concentration, and focused attention to achieve an altered state of consciousness that allows you to access the subconscious mind, where all the negative thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, and feelings can be addressed directly to make positive changes in your life. And when used for anxiety relief, hypnotherapy can help identify patterns of behavior causing or contributing to the anxiety symptoms. And during hypnosis session, you will experience heightened awareness, allowing you to become more aware of your thoughts and feelings and control them. And this increased awareness will help you gain insight into your own behavior, as well as understand why you feel anxious in certain situations in the first place. And with this understanding comes the ability to break down these patterns and replace them with positive coping skills. So that was a very short introduction to RTT, but let's move on so I can share with you what's included in the session. So you will receive a pre-session RTT recording that is specifically designed to prime your mind and prepare you for the session that I recommend listening to for about a week before your session. Then in your first week, we will schedule your one-to-one intake session, which takes about 45 minutes, where we go over your history and your goals for the session and the program and get you set up for success from the very first session. Then usually in week 2, we would have our first RTT session, which takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. After the session, you will receive your personalized transformation audio track that is designed to transform your old limiting beliefs and embed your new upgraded ones. Desired, positive, and empowering beliefs about yourself, which you keep forever. It's yours. Once I record it, it is yours to keep. But it's important to listen to this track at least once a day for the next 30 days. By doing this, you will rewire your mind into new, healthier beliefs that will attach themselves deep in your subconscious mind and therefore will become a part of your new transformed life. And during these 30 days, we would check in via Zoom meetings weekly to make sure you're doing well and following along with the program. And during these calls, we also check how you are doing with the online sessions and resources, and also making sure that you are doing your weekly action tasks as well. And besides the follow-up call, you will have my unlimited email support throughout the month. And then we move on to the next session, following the same plan. And finally, the last session. So the pre-session recording, you get it before we have our intake. It's best to listen for 3 to 4 days before the actual session. But the actual pattern is we only are going to have the intake session 1, so the beginning of the program. And then it's the RTT session. And then we're going to have 3 weekly calls to make sure you're doing fine and just follow up with anything that comes up for you. You're going to have my unlimited email support throughout the month. And then once we have the third meeting, then the following week will be the next session. Then we're going to have 3 Zoom calls, next final session, and 3 other Zoom calls. So the exit call there, we're going to talk about a bit later, but it's meant to be at the end of the program, so the very last final week. And it's going to be like a wrap-up call, which we'll talk about later today. So that was very briefly the RTT part of the program. Let's now move on onto the content of the program. The reason why I said this part is not set is because I want you to decide based on your schedule what day or time is the best for you to take the action steps. And the actual lesson is not going to be too long because it's not meant to be a lecture style. It's just meant for you to get the information you need so you can start implementing the actions. So, and because I know everyone's life is different, and also because you get immediate access to everything, I have no control over what you do. I am, however, giving you the option to follow them as they are presented, but you get to choose. So think of it as building your own program that includes all the foundations and basic things you need to make it work for your life. So let's go to week 1. So week 1 is all about high function anxiety. I will talk a lot about the mindset of the high achiever, the root causes of high function anxiety. We will also talk about stress and how it's different. And finally, we will talk about triggers. And we need to do this in the first week to be super clear about what we're dealing with. We will also complete a questionnaire to see where you are sitting on the anxiety and stress scale, so I can keep track of your progress throughout the program, and so you can know as well where you are. So by the end of the program, or each week or each month, you will see in numbers how much you have changed. Because I like to make sure we have measurable information that we keep tracking monthly. And I teach this method to my clients because I want you to understand what tools you have under your belt to work on your anxiety. I have mentioned this before, but everything I have included in my method is backed up by science. I know many of you have Googled something that you decided to try or because someone said it worked for them. But we need to have evidence-based tools to address certain symptoms that we want to change. And I'm sure that none of you would do the same if you were looking for solutions for a heart problem. So I have to do my job as a therapist to inform you about what treatments work best for anxiety. And that's why one of the forms that I'm giving you is called informed consent. So you know what can happen when we are using different techniques. Because I want you to be in charge of your therapy instead of blindly following anything anyone says, including me. I want you to really succeed in this program, to learn and understand exactly what we're doing and why, so you can choose for yourself what you're doing and have a why. So that is week 1 in a nutshell. And you'll also be having an appointment with me so that we get to discuss all of the things that are coming up. Do your intake, go through your goals and personal history, and plan our next steps together. From there, we move on to weeks 2 and 3, where we cover the mind and body connection. So in week 2, we talk about the body and the nervous system. Physical symptoms of anxiety, the fight, flight, fawn, and freeze process. We'll look at our nervous system and learn to recognize the signs of anxiety and stress so we can learn to regulate them. Our brains do not know the difference between physical and mental stress. So your brain doesn't care if you were working on your computer the whole day or whether you were doing labor work. It feels the same stress either way. Our brains make that distinction and tend to minimize your working from home hard work while your kid was screaming at the back or your TV was on, you had the food in the oven while you slept only 5 hours a night before. And also thinking about the ironing and the meal prepping for the next day, and the list goes on. As a high achieving woman, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I will also give you during this week simple tools to use while stuck in that fight or flight state. Because when you are in that state, your cortisol levels are spiking, your body tenses up in so many ways that you don't even realize. So here are some ways I like to use to release anxiety stored in the body. First step is pause for a second so you can take a moment for yourself. Okay? Drop your shoulders and move them away from your ears. Open and close your mouth and then gently shift your jaw from left to right. Fourth, breathe deeply. and calmly while doing pelvic tilts. We'll talk about those in that week. The fifth, place your hands on your chest and breathe deeply. And sixth, spread your fingers wide and make a fist, and then repeat. Because when you stop and pay attention, you notice each part of your body. And you will most likely notice if you're holding tension when you're anxious and stressed. And you will learn to relax those big muscle groups and release it. And that is the beauty of it. You can do it now. You can do it after this workshop. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Okay? Then moving on to week 3, we talk about our thoughts and especially what happens in our brain when we are anxious. We talk about cognitive distortions and core beliefs and how they affect your anxiety. And this week is primarily based on cognitive behavioral techniques, where we talk about cognitive distortions. And in case you don't really know what I'm talking about, cognitive distortions are basically the lens through which you see yourself and the world around you. And it's truly transformative when you're able to recognize them, be curious about them, and then let them go. And the reason why I teach you all this is because I want you to be able to be your own therapist. Because I cannot be there all the time. Yes, we have our calls. Yes, we have our sessions. We have the group calls as well. But you are with you the rest of the time. And I want to teach you the skills to help yourself. I want you to be confident in your ability to take care of yourself. And I want you to be aware when you have an anxious thought and see if you recognize it as a cognitive distortion, and then say to yourself, okay, I'm thinking this, and it's just an all or nothing kind of thinking, but I know it's not true, and I can let it go. And you can 100% do that yourself through meditation. We will talk more about meditation later, but in terms of our thoughts, meditation can teach you how to observe your thoughts without judgment, get curious about them, and then decide whether it's actually needs your attention or you can just let them go. So together we would have our therapy sessions, but I don't want you to just rely on me. I want you to fully trust yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. And this is the Peace with Anxiety method. And that is why I'm so passionate and I will be teaching you. Even if you have 1,000 questions, it doesn't matter. I will be there to answer them for you. But I want to show you what you can do. Because at the end of the day, if you take one thing out of this program, let this be it. I want to teach you to trust again your mind and body and trust that you have everything you need. All right, in week 4, we talk about what makes anxiety worse, and in particular, how your coping strategies, like being a perfectionist or your tendency to people please or any kind of avoidance behavior, keep you stuck in the cycle of anxiety and actually make it worse. But we also talk about how everyday habits can sustain that anxious cycle and prevent you from facing the anxiety head on, so you can finally overcome it. We need to focus on these coping behaviors early on, because they are just ways you learn along the way to just be able to navigate difficult emotions. So learning to recognize your patterns of behavior when you are activated is incredibly important because it's going to give you the insight to say, hey, anxiety, I see you and I know that I'm used to reacting this way, but it's time to do better now. And there will be this beautiful moment when you will be able to catch yourself having an anxious thought, recognize the physical emotions, and then be able to decide to respond in a different way. Because now you have all the tools you need. And I put it here in this way because I wanted to introduce you to these coping strategies that you may be using, and then throughout the program, the next 3 months, be able to use the tools that you will learn to stop yourself from going down the spiral. And okay, following this very full-on month, in week 5, we will take our first break from learning any new stuff. Because if you do follow along, then you will most certainly need a break. Okay, in week 6, we are talking about sleep. And I love talking about sleep and rest in general because I think it's one of the most important reasons why our nervous system gets dysregulated. And if you're someone who struggles with anxiety and has bad sleep, give me a thumbs up in the chat because I know very well how much you want to sleep and want to wake up feeling rested. If we want to see changes in our lives, we need to make sure that we go to bed at a reasonable time, sleep through the night, and wake up at the right time for us to make sure our melatonin is produced. So 7 to 9 hours of sleep is the recommended amount for an adult, but I want you to listen to what your body tells you, to what your body needs. Because yes, 7 to 9 is the recommended amount and it kind of makes sense. But if you haven't slept for the last 2 nights, then rest whenever you can. You don't need to wait until the night. Because if you don't produce melatonin, then the cortisol levels increase and then you struggle throughout the day with anxiety and stress. And I wanted sleep to be the first thing to change because no matter how much water you drink, how many meditations you're listening to, or how often you go to therapy, if you don't sleep, nothing is going to work. So in this week, we talk about how to improve your sleep. We talk about resting, and I also help you create your own nighttime routine. Okay, so next week is week 7, and it's all about nutrition. And it's basically how to eat for your brain. Now, I am not a dietitian, but throughout my training, nutrition has played a big role in regulating your mind and body. And because I have struggled a lot with the idea of eating for my brain, I mean, there is so much information out there about eating to look the way you want to, but not nearly enough about how to keep your mind and body healthy. And this is so incredibly important because our survival depends on it. When we don't fuel our body with the necessary nutrients, we develop symptoms. And sometimes those symptoms look like anxiety or depression. So, for example, if you experience rapid heartbeat, you wake up at 4 in the morning and have very low mood, feel dizzy and fatigued, well, I would ask you, when was the last time you checked your iron or blood sugar levels? Because when someone experiences these things, they might immediately think, oh, it's just my anxiety, and they go on to take medication for it or start avoiding exercising altogether because they feel fatigued in the first 5 minutes and dizzy when they get up from bed, and then they stop doing any kind of exercise. But hold on. Before we go there, let's take a break. Let's take a step back and make sure we're nourishing our body with all the vitamins and minerals and proteins it needs to function properly. Okay? So we need to make sure we eat proper food for our brains, hydrating our bodies, and watch how our mood changes in relation to this. So this week we're going to make sure that you have all the information you need to improve your eating habits. For example, taking high quality whole foods every day and taking supplements when you need them can have a really positive impact in balancing your emotions. We then move on to week 8, which is all about moving your body and exercise. And I talk about different ways you can move your body, including strength training and yoga. Now, again, I am not a personal trainer or a yoga teacher or a master in any kind of gymnastics, but I must say, after trying both of them for myself and committed to them, I love and recommend both of them to my clients. Yoga for so many reasons, and well, mostly because it's so interconnected with mindfulness and it teaches you so many mental health lessons and helps you connect with your body and stay in the present moment while noticing what is happening in your brain. It is truly fantastic. Now, I found personally that there is a similarity between them, and in the sense that you need a method, a slower pace, and control to be effective in both, to feel and see the results. And the other thing that I want to say is that just because I recommend these two, it doesn't mean that if you are a big fan of Zumba class or swimming or running, you're doing anything wrong or it's not going to work. Absolutely not. You can do whatever feels best for you and also what works for your schedule. It is far more important to move your body for at least 30 minutes a day than push yourself to do something you don't like. The purpose of this week is to find what works for you, because I want you to stop trying to push through your day, your week, your month, and so on. I want you to learn to listen and pay attention to your body, because your body is holding on to everything you're feeling and it needs an outlet. You need to release the build-up tension and stress and consistently regulate your nervous system, because as a high achiever, you're always on the go. I just want you to pick one exercise or workout routine and do only that for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then you can switch it up. But you need to learn how to do one thing at a time. Slow down and pay attention to what you're doing and what your body needs. Just because you scheduled your workout at 6 a.m., but you haven't slept in the last 3 days, and you're working 10 hours a day, and you're also raising a little human, and maybe have a side business or whatever it is you're doing, you need to listen to your body when it says stop, rest, do nothing. Otherwise, you will be on the verge of burnout. Moving on to week 9. This is all about spending time outdoors in nature and spending time with others. It's more about reconnecting with your mind and body and with the world around you, reminding you that you are a part of this world, that you don't just live inside your head, and also, very importantly, spending time with others, connecting with fellow humans, and all those things that you seem to think are ridiculous are helping you. Your environment and nature basically provide free therapy for your nervous system. And for example, here are some ways you will learn in my program that are going to help you disconnect from work, from whatever is happening, and reconnect with the world around you. So what you can do: lay on the ground, and feel the stillness around you. Let the sun hit your skin. Listen to the wind, the birds, the trees as they move. Breathe deeply and let the oxygen nurture every cell in your body. Once you do these things, you will feel your parasympathetic nervous system taking effect. And I'm sure you will be as surprised as I was once you try them. I know how all of this sound, but when was the last time you stopped and looked at the night sky or walked in the garden or a beach barefoot and you felt awful, right? All those little things count because we are humans and we're still animals and we're all part of this world, and we need connection with the environment, with nature, and with other people to make us feel like we belong. It gives us perspective and the feeling that we're not alone. And trust me, only when you start doing it, you will be like, holy moly, okay? I will move on to the next one, which is week 10 and mindfulness. And that is a big topic, and we are covering quite a lot in this week. And I am sure many of you have tried some sort of mindfulness before, and you have your opinion. That is okay by me. All I want you to know is that every tool that I included in this week's content is based on acceptance and commitment therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, which uses mindfulness practices to bring you back to your body and at the present moment. And there are for sure many different ways out there. I mean, the most common one must be the 4-3-2-1 grounding method, which is basically noticing 5 things you see, 4 things you touch, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. And it's wonderful, it's working. But that's just one of the tools. And the way that I like to teach mindfulness is to bring awareness to whatever it is you choose to do. But the important, again, with this one is to be consistent. To see results and change, you need to practice mindfulness every day. And it is the easiest thing. I give you so many ideas that you can do on your own to introduce mindfulness in your daily life. For example, in the morning when you brush your teeth or when you are drinking your first cup of coffee or tea, there are so many moments in the day where you can actually do it. So I teach you how to do it very simply. And the reason why we need mindfulness is that as high achievers, we are so used to moving on to the next thing, always being on the go. Multitasking is our superpower. But we know from research that just because you can multitask, it doesn't mean you're able to be 100% good at everything you do. That is an illusion. And yes, you can get things done, but most of the time you're missing the point. How many times have you done something or been somewhere and you felt like you were not even there? You could not make yourself leave what you were doing or feeling or feel a part of something because your mind is just on the next thing. And I know many moms who feel the same way, and they report feeling so guilty not being able to enjoy the moment. And if that's you, it's okay. You're here now and you're willing and motivated to change your life. So I include here guided meditations, visualizations, and mindful practices such as taking mindful breaks. And with meditation, we honestly just need to start somewhere. If you can only do 2 minutes, that's fine. Keep doing 2 minutes until you're comfortable to stay in meditation for 5, then 7, then 20. And I think that's why I decided to make this content always available to you when you join, because it's not realistic to think that you can master meditation or mindfulness practice in 7 days. So I want you to let go of the pressure to do everything in a week and start investing in mastering one thing at a time. What I realized when I started doing meditation was that I was completely unable to sit in silence with myself. I couldn't. It was just so uncomfortable to do it. And I could not just stay for 10 seconds straight. So I know how difficult it can be. And that's why I give you lifetime access to this content and any future updates, because I want you to have an arsenal of resources as well, so that you can always come back to when you need a reminder. And I know how it is presented in social media. So when you're doing meditation, you're in this blissful state, floating away and stuff. But from what I have experienced myself and from what my clients have said, it is the hardest thing to sit while your anxiety is running the show. But from mastering this simple thing, okay, think about it. I'm just asking you to sit on your butt for 2 minutes, do nothing, say nothing, right? But from doing this 2-minute practice every day, you learn to observe your thoughts, notice your physical emotions, get curious about your experience, and then you can do the work. You can challenge your thoughts, regulate your nervous system, and feel connected and present. Okay. The following week, week 11, we take our final break from new content and we just catch up with everything that needs our attention. Week 12, we are now talking about stress management techniques. And here I include breathing exercises, body scan exercises, time management techniques, and setting boundaries. Now, you may be wondering why time management and setting boundaries are under stress management, but if you think about it, when you don't have time for yourselves and you don't set boundaries with yourself again, for example, leaving work at work or boundaries with others, how much time you spend looking after everyone else. And I'm not talking if you have kids, that is understandable. But a little sign out here, even moms need time for themselves as well. I am talking about trying to be there for your partner, your mom, your dad, your partner's mom and dad, and your sister, your brother, your nieces, your cousins, your grandparents, your friends, and so on, your colleagues. To reduce our daily stress, yes, we need to learn breathing techniques. But we also need to learn to put some distance between our work, our friends, our family, and us. And with breathing exercises, I don't have any special way of doing them. I feel it's more important to do the simplest one every day for 3 to 5 minutes than teach a complicated one and do it once or twice, because the steps are just too complicated. The trick here is to do them even when we're not anxious, because it's just like a muscle. We need to practice a few times so that when we actually feel anxious, it becomes an automatic action that we don't even need to think about it or panic about it. And because when we are in that state, the thinking mind shuts off and the feeling mind takes over, takes control. So when you have an anxiety attack, your body will remind you to slow down and breathe. Once you train your body to recognize the signs of anxiety, you can get ahead of those. And through breathing, you can control your heart rate and your blood pressure, because you have done it so many times, and because now it feels safe and gives you back control of your emotions. Now in week 13, we're almost there. We're going to be learning how to reframe our thoughts. So now we're going to be learning how cognitive distortions, if you remember from week 3, and core beliefs, and helpful coping strategies and habits from week 4, and so many other tools already that we have learned, how we can use all these to tackle the overthinking part of you, the inner critic, and that is there to hold you back and stop you from moving forward. So now we will learn how to challenge that inner critic and talk back to it so we can lower its voice to the bare minimum so we can still hear what it has to say. Because as you will learn, it is a part of you that is there to protect you. But it won't be able to affect your decisions or your mood anymore, as we discussed at the beginning of the workshop. As children, we create beliefs out of survival and experience, and those beliefs come with us into adulthood without us even knowing it. So when things are going well, these beliefs stay hidden. We don't really notice them because things are going well. However, when we are faced with uncertainty, these unconscious beliefs trigger emotions and behaviors that don't serve us as adults anymore. And in fact, they make anxiety worse. They cause relationship issues, work issues, body image issues, so much more. But as we know from research, we have the power to rewire our thoughts and create new neural pathways to support our healing journey and dramatically reduce anxiety. So we will talk about our mindset towards anxiety and challenges towards our inner critic and how we can develop a more resilient mindset and confident mindset as well. And we will talk about the power of affirmations when done properly. So we will forever change the language we use to talk to ourselves and about ourselves. I will teach you how you can stand in front of a mirror and truly see yourself with all the flaws, the imperfections, and all your awesomeness, and learn to accept yourself, but also start to falling in love with yourself again. It is the hardest thing, don't get me wrong. But almost after 4 months of working together, I'm willing to bet that it's going to get easier than if you try and do it today. Then week 14 is all about self-care. And here I have included creating a morning routine and self-care habits that you can try. But I also have a very important component of my method, which is fun. Really connecting or reconnecting with your inner child. I want you now to remember how it feels like to actually have fun, to enjoy playing, feeling free, and doing things that bring you joy. Because I certainly had forgotten how to have fun. As a high achiever, I was only thinking about work, responsibilities, and success. It's so important to be able to enjoy spending time with others or even by yourself without feeling ashamed or rushed or like you're not supposed to be jumping on the bed now that you're an adult, for example. No, if you want to do it safely, of course, because I believe all of us have a story to tell from falling down the bed. So let's not repeat that part, but honestly, I will show you how to find something you used to love as a kid. So it could even be coloring, playing with a ball, board games, or riding a bike. And if you have kids, then it's even easier for you because you can just join them in whatever they're doing, and they will remind you how to have fun. Your body may have forgotten, but it won't take too long to remember. Okay. In week 15, we're going to put everything together and you will see for yourself how everything comes together, how one thing leads to the other, so you can do all of those things by yourself. And I know that people love seeing a therapist, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't see them anymore. That is 100% your choice. All I'm saying is that maybe now, if you do see someone, you can support yourself better because you have all the tools and learn all the skills and you build up your confidence and you feel comfortable in your body. So then we put everything together and we put together a final mental health routine plan that you can use after the program. And we talk about how you stay committed to the plan and how to deal with setbacks when they happen. And finally, we finish off in week 16, where we have our exit call, if you remember, and discuss what is next for you. We go through your anxiety report one final time and we celebrate all of your wins. It is going to be a fantastic week. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I think I mentioned this before, but this is why you get lifetime access. So in 6 months from now or a year, if you need a reminder on why you're having those thoughts and what to do about them, you can go back and check your resources. It is a 4-month program, but the skills you're learning are going to change your life forever if you keep implementing them. Now, one final thing, I decided to also include a monthly Q&A session inside our VIP private Facebook group. So if you have any questions that are not answered in your weekly content or during our follow-up calls, then you bring them to the monthly call and we talk about it then. Or we can talk about a topic that came up that week, or if there are no questions, I can get to teach you an extra lesson that I have up on my sleeve on how to implement different tools in certain situations. And as I said, it is going to be an ever-growing program. So there you have it. This is the Peace with Anxiety RTT program. It's 4 months, 16 weeks, lifetime access, multiple lessons, resources, accountability, support, community. Everything you need to overcome anxiety naturally. And I was just looking, and I know that we are way over time. And thank you for staying with me. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I will answer them in a live Facebook group. And if you're not in the group, please let me know and I will send you the link to join. But before I let you go, I want to tell you about the cost of the program. So the full cost of the 16-week program is valued at $2,497 United States dollars when it's going to be fully completed. For now, the investment will be $1,497 USD dollars, or 3 monthly payments of $517. And I know that these numbers sound overwhelming and scary to you, and you can always send me a message, okay? And I will help you where I can, because my priority is getting you the help you need with your anxiety healing journey. Okay. The reason why I created this program this way, with the financial cost as it stands now, is because if you were to speak to a therapist, it's like $200 an hour. And of course, if you have seen someone, how many sessions does it take for you to actually feel like you change your life, or until you feel confident to use all the tools and strategies and to have always access to them and have access to me pretty much every week through individual check-ins or the monthly Q&As, and also the 3 RTT sessions that normally one session costs about $300. And you get 3 of those. So that is why these numbers were picked for the program. You are investing in 3 RTT sessions. You get the ongoing access to the whole curriculum and support and community and numerous resources and any future updates as I'm still developing it. And I'm telling you all this because I want these numbers to make sense to you, okay? But if you're watching this live or catching up this replay, then I'm going to tell you the exciting news about the additions that I have to the program. So, for the very first 10 women who join the program and decide to pay in full, they get an extra bonus discount of 400 USD dollars. So the final investment will come down to 1,097 USD dollars. And you will also get access to my mindfulness mini course along with a 21-day meditation challenge, a 30-day self-care journal, and I will also give you a 45% discount code to use throughout my Etsy store, which includes many more mental health resources such as workbooks, journals, and affirmation cards, and coloring books. And I will also give lifetime access, not just to the content, but also to the private VIP Facebook community, because I want you to get access to all of the things that I'm offering. Because not only Peace with Anxiety method is so unbelievably valuable, but you get the lifetime support if you need it. You will have a place to ask questions, learn something new, and be part of a community of like-minded women who really get you. And I don't think there is a number that you can put on that. And I think that obviously numbers have to make sense because, we're all having anxiety and we're like, oh my God, what we try to, figure out all that stuff, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, we have to say, where do I want to put my resources? What do I want to walk away with when I'm working with for my mental health? And that is why I built this program, because I was like, there's nothing better than learning tools. It is invaluable. It is priceless. It's going to be with me for the rest of my life. And that is why I absolutely love and I'm passionate about this program. And that's what you want to see as well. There is power in community. There is power in numbers. There is power in accountability. There is power in support. There is power in the RTT, in the sessions, in the tools. Right now, you just have to be willing to do the work. And that is why I say the Peace with Anxiety method is not for everyone. You have to want it. You have to want to show up for yourself. You have to want to face your resistance. You have to want to continue showing up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it. I want you to think, if you want to invest in someone who is going to be very stubborn and is going to give you all the tools, resources, and support you need, who will keep you accountable and get you where you want to be while you do things in the background for yourself. Or if you want to invest in someone who is going to hear your story or anything that comes up with no structure and no clear method. Okay? So if that is something of interest to you, if you are intrigued, or if I have piqued your interest in any way about the Peace with Anxiety method, and you do want to sign up to get the bonuses, I would suggest clicking the link in the chat and securing your spot at such a substantial discounted rate, because I want you to have these tools in your hand. That's really important, because as new information comes out, I'm going to be adding to this program. And now you also get the founder pricing. So this is a brand new program, and you get to be a founder of this. When you opt in, when you enroll, when you say yes to yourself. But guess what? It gets even better. When you enroll today, I will also include a fast action bonus, which includes a 30-day self-care challenge, where I give you 30 different ways you can start practicing self-care and adding that into your routine, which is important. You will also get journal prompts, because writing how we feel, what we think, can be so therapeutic in itself, but it also can give us some insight into what is really going on, especially if you're feeling stuck and you're struggling finding the awareness of why you feel stuck. So these journaling prompts will be really helpful for you in that. Also, meditations and self-hypnosis audios, and a very detailed 90-day mental health plan. So when you join today, you get the founder price and the fast action bonuses. Now, as I said, the founder pricing and the fast action bonuses are a limited time offer for only the first 10 women who join me. And this is, truthfully, the lowest price this program will ever be offered. Okay? So if you're considering waiting to see if there's any change in the price, the only change in the price will be that it's going to be more. This is the lowest price, the best value for this course. Now understand that investing in a course can bring up concerns. What if it doesn't work for me? What if I don't see results? And I want to remove this fear from your decision making, and that's why I'm offering a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you diligently implement the techniques and strategies taught in the program, and you're unable to see any noticeable results within the first 30 days, I will gladly issue you a full refund. Okay? So this is my not so short workshop on the Peace with Anxiety method, and hopefully you took some notes as I went through each week, each element of the program, so that if you want to implement any of the suggestions that I gave you, at least now you have a concrete method to do that. And of course, I have a unique way of teaching these tools. And when you join, you also get the 3 RTT sessions with me with everything they include. But at least now you know exactly what is included in my method and the tools and the strategies that I use for myself to overcome anxiety, and I use with my clients on their journey as well. And if you want my guidance and support, feel free to message me or send me an email. And if you have any questions, again, email me or book a 30-minute call with me, and I'd be happy to answer the questions one-on-one. Otherwise, I will gather any questions you had today and answer them in my Facebook group. Okay, like I said, you can take all the information and build your own plan. I don't mind. You can use all the tools and the techniques that I mentioned in the order that I did, and you can try them for yourself. But if you're ready to take that leap and move into action, then you know that this investment is not a waste. I truly believe in this program. So my question to you is, how do you want to feel after this program? And if your answer is along the lines of calm, confident, present, and control of your mind and body, then I say click the link and book your spot. I really want you to understand that this isn't just buying a program. It's about investing in yourself and your mental health and your future. Peace with Anxiety RTT program is more than just a collection of lessons or sessions. It's a life-changing journey towards a more calm and confident life. And as long as you're willing to participate, you will get the results you want. So let's take a pause for today. And I look forward to seeing some of you inside my Peace with Anxiety RTT community. And I hope you really enjoyed this workshop. It was so nice to have you here in this very first, very long workshop. And I may be doing it again soon. If you have any comments or suggestions, also feel free to let me know. All right. Have a great night or day, wherever you are, everyone. And I will see you guys again soon. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Peace with Anxiety podcast. If you found any value in today, I would really appreciate if you would leave me a review and share this episode on your Instagram story, tagging me at Irene, the Anxiety Therapist. Also, make sure you subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. All the links are found below in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.